All right, good morning, everybody. Appreciate everybody being here. I was sad I didn't see you yesterday. It's been good game week prep. Challenge the guys. Just as we started at the beginning of the week, as I said in the press conference, there on Monday. Our focus is for our best. I mean, this is our first opportunity to go out and to be able to have the opportunity to play as a 2026 Florida State football team, and we want to start with our absolute best foot forward. As we go through the year, we'll see growth, improvement in all areas, but making sure that you take all the lessons that have been learned throughout the off season. The things that you've experienced throughout your career, and now it's whether you're a true freshman that's coming in with an opportunity to play, or you're a guy that's a fifth-year senior. Looking forward to seeing them go out there and have fun playing this game. And this has been a really good group, and the way they've approached the practice, the meetings, some of the things we're asking them to do to sacrifice to be their best. So I mean, I'm grateful for the work that they're putting in. I thought we've had a couple really good days of practice. But now it's as you continue to transition it towards the back part of the week, you'll have our normal Thursday, which is kind of low impact. We'll have fast Friday. Get the speed where it needs to be, and then come Saturday night, we want to go see 3.5 hours of fast, physical, and relentless Florida State football. So looking forward to it, and it's been a good week throughout this process.
Questions? Start with John.
New Mexico State has some similarities in their defensive structure to what you guys do in terms of the 3-3-5 stuff. Just how does that help you guys prepare offensively for what you're going to see this weekend when you've been kind of practicing?
Yeah, I mean they do a good job schematically. There definitely are some similarities. There are some also each defense has been unique to itself, and you can go back and you can look at a year ago what they did 2 years ago, what that looked like, and you definitely. You could see a coordinator. You can see your defense coaches that play to their personnel, and you do a good job of trying to put their guys in the best position to be successful. A year ago they were one of the best teams in the country creating takeaways. I mean, they had I think they were 14th in the country, second in their league. They were able to create plenty of forced fumbles. Created multiple interceptions. So this is a team that. They're guys that when they get in a position to make plays, they definitely have showed up and you created enough havoc for opposing offenses that we're definitely aware that we can see a lot, and just gotta prepare and focus on our job. Hi, nice to see you, Peter. Nice to see you, Ira. Appreciate you guys. Sorry, it started a little early, but it was approximate 11:30 and started 5 minutes early.
Jason.
But an adjacent start.
Appreciate it.
Wonderful.
All right. Colby will have your next question.
Just re-emphasizing your point. Yes, sir. Thank you.
What's the emphasis now with 5-for-5 ruling coming down, and obviously rosters kind of being flattened across college football? The emphasis, especially early in the season, to get guys looks on special teams here and there. So just towards the back end, you have more playable depth.
Yeah, I mean it's put the best players out there that can go help impact this football team. And the thing that I've liked is we've had some young players, some true freshmen that are going to make an impact. And some guys that might be a special teams focus here early. Some guys put themselves in a position offensively, defensively, to have a role. And but as the season progresses, you want to see that growth. You want to see that continued improvement, so that guys are growing their confidence. And across the board, we want to see guys go out there and take what they've done in their preparation and put on display. Everybody talks about what they want to be, but we get to go put it in action.
Corey.
What do you as a head coach, I know you said you want to see fast, physical football. What can be taken away from game? It's such a long season, but what can you see from game one that you think can carry over?
Yeah, I mean, I think situational awareness, that's probably one of the hardest things, as throughout the course of a year, because you don't get a script of what it's going to be, and you to see guys that can own the situations they find themselves in, third downs, fourth downs, field zones, communication within calls, when you're seeing maybe a variety of different blitzes, when you're seeing different formations, bunch clusters, motions, just the ownership of the downs, as much as we try to emphasize the communication, you know, the meetings that guys, you know, that sit in, and then, you know, what they're doing out there at the practice field, being able to carry that, you know, onto the field on game day in week one, you know, it gives you a wonderful foundation of where you can grow, where you can get to, you know, just that's something I'm always looking for is, man, are we taking the field early in the season with a great understanding of your situational football, of what the things that are necessary, and then you know, you're gonna get to see guys that, you know, there's some things that you try to you know, imitate when it comes to what, you know, game day is gonna be like. You have your scrimmages, but you know, when you're going against a, you know, opposing offense, opposing defense, you know, just the confidence in your play. You know, I don't want to see hesitation. I want to see guys that, you know, that they understand the leverage or what they have to either gain or take away, and I want to see guys that are fighting for every dang inch that's out there. You know, whether it's in a kickoff coverage, whether, you know, kickoff return, offensively, defensively, you know, are we fighting for the space? And then, you know, just you know, to feel their passion. You know, I think when you see a team that is going out there, and that's what I've told them, I want to go out there and have fun. I want to see the joy of football, you know, from this football team, you know, come Saturday night, and then you get to continue to build upon that, you know, throughout the course of the season.
Right?
Coach, with the benefit of hindsight now, with the fall camp in the rearview mirror, and also the lion's share of a week of games, how have you seen the offense respond to Ashton as starting quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, he's done a great job through fall camp, and just the response throughout, you know, the last, you know, 23 practices that we've had, you know, even counting this morning. I mean, he's gained so much respect through his preparation, through his performance, through the ability that he's shown, you know, his command and control. Yeah, this week it's been good because, you know, you go through fall camp and you put in so much, and there's such a big menu that you work through, things that you can pull from at different points in the season, things that you want to see, you know, bless you, where guys are, you know, and just, you know, the skills of what you're asking them to do. And so as we've kind of gone into game prep, I mean, you really feel, you know, his bounce, and, you know, the things that he's being asked to do. I mean, he's executing at a very high level. I think he's got, you know, even in the course of the game, if we need to go, you know, to a couple different things. I mean, yeah, I feel very confident. He's just playing with great speed, and, you know, this team believes in him, and because they've watched him.
All right.
What's the balance between the guys like being chomping at the bit to go, like during camp to get into a game, versus you guys trying to kind of manage that and kind of peak at the right time, and how they've done with that? 'Cause talking to the guys, it sounds like they're definitely ready.
Yeah, they're ready. I mean, but it was my conversation 10 minutes ago as we finished practice is, you know, we can show up and we can put everything we have into our preparation, and I don't need them game ready right now. It's 7 o'clock Saturday night, so if you're willing to invest, you're willing to push, you're willing to challenge yourself, you know, there's going to be mistakes, there's going to be faults, and you know what, it's you grow through those, and you know, every part of it is making sure that I'm taking care of my mind, my body, you know, the fundamentals, the techniques, I'm building through that throughout the week, and then, you know, everything points to 7 o'clock Saturday night, and you know, then you have 3.5 hours to be able to go and, you know, perform and, you know, have fun, respond to whatever shows up, and that's the balancing act that you have to have is, you know, mental, physical, every bit of it. So you know, I think the guys are in a good place, but you know, that was part of my challenge to them is, you know, just continue to focus on right now this step that's with us today, and you know, let's build, and you know, Lord willing, we all get tomorrow. Let's go and be better then, and you know, come Saturday night when we get an opportunity to kick it off, let's go and put on a show.
You mentioned big menu in terms of what you learned in fall camp. It's also kind of a thing for when you guys get 2 weeks in a row because you're playing 2 teams in their first games. How tough does that make it to prepare in general?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a challenge, and that's why, you know, as you go into it, you have to understand it, and I know coaches always say, well, it's just about us, and it is. I mean, because I don't get a phone call that tells me what anybody else is doing. You know, that you're going to find out come, you know, about 7:05 exactly what somebody's going to do offensively, defensively, special teams, and then you got to adapt and adjust throughout the course of the game. You know, but it still has to play to the skills, the you know, the talents of what we think our guys are gonna do and putting them in the best positions. But then, you know, we gotta, you know, those guys they're well coached. I mean, those guys are on scholarship. You know, they're fighting to do the same exact things that you're trying to do. So, you know, we'll have back-to-back weeks of that, of really some of the unexpected. But, you know, just control things that you can control and be ready to react to whatever you see, you know, throughout the things you're being asked to do.
All right, Liam?
You talked a lot about liking the mindset of this group and liking some of the ways that they respond to things. From a player standpoint, how much does a guy like Deuce Robinson impact the team, not just the wide receiver room? I feel like everybody we talk to has something to say positively about Deuce's leadership.
Yeah, I mean, he's an ultimate servant for this team. And, you know, I think that, you know, a guy that's a great player, you know, all the, whatever the recognition, the awards, the preseason, you know, thoughts of what's making it. But, you know, for him, it's just about pouring into who he does it with. And, you know, he's a wonderful, wonderful human being. He impacts this football team. He impacts this community, you know, the university, everybody involved. And so it's fun to be able to go through life with somebody like that. And, you know, it definitely, you know, when you care about who you do it with, I mean, it just, if you have to sacrifice, if you got to push a little harder, if you got to give just a little bit more, I mean, when love is involved, I mean, those are things you're going to be willing to do. And you know, I think, you know, Deuce is a guy that, you know, I love coaching him, and you know, it's an absolute joy every day. You know, as I've said, I think, you know, multiple times throughout this, you know, spring, summer, I mean, his DNA is on this football team. And, you know, there's more and more guys that are, I could say, have that, you know, similar sentiment, but it's like, they're inspirations to others. They challenge, you know, themselves. They challenge, you know, others to be all that they can, and, you know, so it really does have a great impact with when you have, you know, quality individuals like that are, you know, some of your best players.
Chris?
Is there anyone that you expected to be a contributor in game one through camp that you expect to be unavailable now?
Yeah, I mean, right now we'll have a couple guys that we'll see just as it continues to progress. You know, I think I mentioned earlier in the week, you know, Devin Carter, you know, has been slowed, you know, due to injury. You know, he'd probably be one that's unavailable, you know, this week. You know, we've got a couple other guys that I'm not ready to say, you know, whether they will or will not. You know, I think it's going to be more kind of you know, game time decisions. But I've been really pleased with, you know, how things have progressed. You know, for the guys that were in question there a little earlier in camp.
John?
Kind of building off Liam's question, just with guys like Deuce, Ashland, who were around last year and have been, you know, those leaders in the locker room. You're talking the other day about like the moment of truth where you guys didn't make some plays where you had to in the face of adversity. Just what have you seen from those guys who were around last year, and then kind of the way that that's meshed with, you know, the new guys coming in like Ashton to kind of build what you say you see it differently this season from those guys, and that they're
Yeah, I mean,
dealing
you know,
with adversity.
they've taken advantage of opportunities of what you can do, you know, here in practice, and you know, and all the things that we ask them to do. You know, it's been a team that has rose to the occasion in, you know, the things that, you know, that we can control. And, you know, come Saturday night, you get to go do it in front of, you know, over 70,000 people and enjoy the excitement of game day, and, you know, you get to work through all of that. But you know, I've been really pleased with this team, and just the way that they've you know, approached, you know, those opportunities. And you know, it wasn't for everybody. And you know, there were guys that played on the team, you know, this year that, you know, we didn't have back, you know, for this season. You know, and I mean, you know, there were some hard decisions and hard choices that were made, because just because you play and have experience doesn't always make it, you know, the best, you know, the best fit of what we have moving forward. And I believe the guys that we have here, the guys that have come in, and you know, it's been fun to watch the group and just the investment that they've made.
Corey?
A quick one first.
Is there gonna be two?
It's gonna be a second one, yeah, but a quick one first, yeah.
That's pretty easy to. I got 2 for 1. First one's quick.
Is there a set number of plays you'd like to call in a game? I know situations matter, but the time of between each play. Do you have something in mind that is like the right spot?
No, I mean, that's really a game flow deal. I mean, you know, I know some coaches say, well, man, we want to run 75 plus plays. Well, you know, if you can have a game where you have a bunch of 50 plus yard plays, they're not gonna be a whole lot of plays, but, so it's gonna be a balance. I mean, I think there's times that you wanna be able to attack and, play with tempo, and then there's times that you wanna, probably, adjust, move, force, extra communication. So I've always been somebody that, as many plays as we need to be able to run to keep a competitive advantage, great, but if there's, how can we vary, tempos to use that as an advantage? And, offensively, defensively, I mean, there's been times where, you might have a long drive defensively that you have to defend, and, you want to be as aware as possible if you can control, just to be able to possibly give those guys a couple minutes. And so those are things that show up. They're always going to be determining factors.
And you as a play caller, obviously you didn't do it last year, and the year before, because of a lot of reasons, it wasn't an offense operating at high efficiency. It's been a while since you've run an offense, called an offense that had these kind of weapons. How long do you think it takes you to get back into that groove? Do you feel it already? Will it be a little bit of a, Saturday night?
It's something I've done, done a lot throughout my career, and so it's still about playing to these guys. And we've got, like you mentioned, we have got some weapons that I'm really excited about. It's you do it in scrimmages, you do it, you try to create those game type of situations, and I'm excited about it.
We've got time for a couple more. Ryan?
Coach, the SEC and the Big Ten voted yesterday to ban players coming back that had previously been in the National Football League. Reports are that the ACC is going to do something similar today. Just wondered how you've been monitoring that situation and just kind of your thoughts on what's going on with that 5-5.
I mean, obviously, aware of it, and one day you can do it, or one day you can't do it, and somebody sues and you can do it. Now somebody's saying you can't do it again, and so it's going to go. At the end of the day, it's just control. The things that you can have focus on. We're aware, obviously, in all situations. I like this team. I like the team that we have. I like the group. So we'll see where it continues to go and unfold, and who shows up on rosters next week or potentially later this week. So we'll see.
Anything else for Coach? All right, we'll end with Matt.
To go off of that, I mean, you've had options to bring in fifth-year guys and haven't. What does that say about how much you do like this team in this locker room that maybe that could mess that up?
I mean, it's just right now, and there's so many different dynamics that surround the roster, and one of my favorite things about this year was the fact that there's just the one transfer portal, and I think I said that earlier. But this has been a team that it's not for the last couple months we've been working our fall camp. I mean, this has been since January, seeing the group, that every decision that they made, every workout that they went through, it was impacting the start, which is Saturday night. And it was, seeing a group that is, invested a lot of time, had a lot of sacrifice together. I'm looking forward to seeing them play together. And that doesn't mean there's not going to be times. I mean, obviously we had some freshmen that came in, a couple newcomers that came in June, have jumped right in and really become a part of a great part of this team. But it's been nice just to see that, to get get back to it, but to have that where just for the year. I know come next January it's going to be totally different. There'll be a lot of movement, but I do think that's something that's good for the players. I think it's good for the teams, and just an opportunity for guys to know that, man, they're in it, and it's time to go make it work to the best of their ability. And so that's, like I said, I really enjoy that in the way that this team has approached it.
All right, thank you, Coach.